on the Shoehorn podcast. How ahead is that, Travis?
Day of the Dead. I don't know.
Yeah, I asked him too. I was pretty interested.
It's a Day of the Dead bear. Has
Day of
no
the Dead
meaning.
bear. Okay.
It's meaningless.
Here we are tonight on the Shoehorn podcast with me, Shitty Beaters, Benjamin Williams, Travis, and Nick Batera. Speaking in 2001 movie directed by Steven Spielberg, Artificial Intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we ask the question, if a boy is made to love you, what is your responsibility to love him back?
John
I
Lennon.
want to go last because I think I
John
may have
Lennon?
a different opinion than some
The
of the other
City
people.
Beatles.
Nick, you didn't want to talk about this movie. Why don't
I
you talk
want it.
about it?
All right, I'll start off.
All right,
And to
well,
be
did
fair, I was
everybody
just kinda
actually-
joking
everybody
around.
actually
I was
watched
just
it,
kind of
right?
joking around in the
Yeah,
text.
just finished up.
I put a lot of
You
work
watched
into
it, Nick?
Yeah, so I watched it, and to be fair, the movie asks a lot of questions, right? It brings a lot of things to bear, and it makes you think about a lot of things. But I was going to say all of the questions kind of wrapped up into one major question I kept coming back to, and that was, is this the worst movie ever fucking made?
My man.
Harsh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was. I mean, I'll start off with
You
this.
were entertained by it?
No, and I feel
Have
like
you seen this?
I saw it in Robert's basement when I was in high school. I had a very low opinion of it then, and I felt very validated in my younger self's opinion after watching it a few nights ago.
Hey, at least you got something positive out of it.
Well, I'll say this: I thought, and there's a lot of ins, a lot of outs, but I thought the Jude Law part, when they get to that, was the most interesting part of it, and it's a huge uptick. It's like a complete mood change of the film once he gets involved and the boy's on his own, and then they're not able to sustain that. Like, I just found it the biggest. I'll stop talking pretty soon, but the biggest problem I had with it was, of all the themes that they present, of all like the moral questions that it raises, I feel like they don't give any credit to the audience, and there's so much exposition in this movie that it doesn't leave any room for you to actually, like, it's not done in a clever way. Like, even in the first scene, she says, well, doesn't that present a moral question? And then she says, I feel like good sci-fi movies, you arrive at the questions yourself, you're thinking through them as it's unfolding on the screen. For this, it was like an itemized list that they read off to you during the movie of the questions that they were asking. And I was like, it just is like, this movie, they just assume we're all dumb fucks and we can't grasp it ourselves. And so that was my biggest gripe with the whole thing.
Yeah. I watched it and I thought it was visually pretty cool for how when it came out. Visually, it was like, wow, this looks like it could be relevant now in terms of how it looked. Well, when the movie ended, I said to my significant other, I said to her, I think that movie probably had a lot of meaning, but I don't give a fuck. I fucking hated it. I hated the kid. I think it was such a waste of so much potential in terms of how it looked, in terms of, the storyline. I just thought it was, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I hated it with a passion. I'll never watch it again. I felt like I'd already seen it for some reason, because there's so many movies like I, Robot, Bicentennial Man, all these movies that kind of seem like it I've seen. I felt
They
like
all came after this.
Right. I felt like I had seen this, like, because of that. Maybe this is another.
Those were all made after this.
Right. Maybe it's another
Yeah.
example of this already has been played out because of movies prior to it, and we watched other things, and but I don't know what I was supposed to get out of that, man.
You know what I wish we had rather watched than this? Pinocchio.
This was Pinocchio.
I'd rather watch Pinocchio instead of a Pinocchio foil for 2
Who
hours.
was Jiminy Cricket? All I wanted to know when I realized it was Pinocchio, was it Jude Law? Was it the teddy bear?
It had to have been Jude Law, right?
Yeah.
Or Teddy Bear, I guess.
See, to me, this was like,
And who cares?
I want to
Exactly.
get. Hold on, I want to hear what. All right, Ben, why don't you go next?
With Jiminy Cricket.
So I was telling Mike earlier.
Who cares?
This was the first Shoehorn movie that we've watched where I was really tempted to just say to you guys when we started, like, sorry, I had to leave the theater.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
You can.
it was easily the biggest struggle I've had to finish a movie in a while.
I didn't care about the kid. Hated him.
I really didn't like it from like the first second it started. I wish that at least in the beginning they had explained why they got Haley Joel Osment, a kid that looks like Haley Joel Osment. I didn't think that there was any payoff with what they did later in the film.
Mommy.
So I wish they had explained that that was a clone of the guy who created its kid. I wish they had just explained that up front. That annoyed me. And then
Why would that annoy you?
well, because it was so the way I thought it was presented was that the child android they were giving them essentially was supposed to be a replica of their son, but it wasn't.
You're supposed
it
to.
wasn't.
I think they tried to lead you down that path,
At first,
Right.
which is why it was a great surprise in the end
Right.
when you find out it's his son.
May I ask a question?
Okay.
I was blown away by that surprise.
Nicholas.
Really?
Yeah.
I was wanting to ask a
This,
question.
by the way, this was the first time I had watched this movie, and
Okay.
I genuinely hated every second of it.
Oh.
Like there was no redeeming qualities at all
Sound like
So,
to
Wyatt.
me.
For
It seriously, if it seems like they gave Spielberg way too much reign. It's like, what did he do before this? Because whatever he did, everybody must have said, "Oh yeah, everything he does is genius." Because this was, I think, his way of saying, like, because I thought he was not a proponent of AI, and this was his way of saying, like, we don't need it or something. Like, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Nick, what were you gonna say?
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I just wanted to say something that I didn't know about this movie that I thought was extremely interesting and tails off what you just said, Ben, was that this was something that Stanley Kubrick bought the rights to like a long time ago, and
He worked on it for 20 years.
Yeah,
Right.
he wanted to get it made, but it just kept getting hung up. And he had the same thing. Like a lot of people would say this, were like, "Whoa, technology's not at the point where we can make this movie yet." So
And
he passed.
I mentioned that last week, and I couldn't remember if he wrote it or not, or something. I knew he was involved at some stage.
They say it's based off a book from like a short story from the 70s. So they bought that, and then they kind of rewrote it as a screenplay, yada yada.
Stanley Kubrick apparently was supposed to make a set of movies off of this. It was supposed to be like several things in a
I guess it just never kind of worked, and he kept asking.
Maybe that would have been a better idea.
And this is what happens when Stanley Kubrick dies. Somebody
He didn't
jerks
actually
off
die,
into a
I don't think.
peanut.
He just thought it would be a better fit for Spielberg. But apparently,
Well,
the first 40
so-
minutes of the movie are Spielberg didn't change. The last 20 minutes of the movie, Spielberg didn't change. So the ending with the super advanced androids is. Did you guys know those were androids, or did you think they were aliens?
I thought they were aliens.
Those are androids.
I figured
Those are
Is
an
there
evolution
explanation?
of
Is there any
David.
explanation to that?
Yeah, I didn't know that either, actually. Apparently, a lot of people didn't.
This movie did not do a good enough job of explaining itself.
But that's funny because that's the opposite of what Nick is saying.
Yeah, I think it explained itself too much.
No, I don't think so.
Did you know they were robots at the end?
No. So I thought that those were, when they talk about that, because they were aware of humans and that they used to exist, and that I knew that this was the progression of where AI went. When AI started creating more AI, this is the plot that they got.
You were on that, yeah.
But what I was saying is, it's less about the plot points that it explains, and it's much more that they lay out the moral questions that we're supposed to be asking ourselves about artificial intelligence versus like, what is the nature of love? And I think a movie like Blade Runner does a fantastic job of that. Like that for me is the step
of showing versus telling.
Exactly. So you arrive based off of the dramatic tensions that are there.
Okay, we're kind of on two. So I'm saying they didn't do a good enough job of explaining the actual plot
point.
That's of the movie and what was going on.
That.
Right.
I accept that.
Right.
I'm talking more about the larger question.
No. Yeah. They kind of came out and just said that a lot of the time. I mean, I feel like there was a point.
I mean, I think they kind of need to, maybe, because this is Steven Spielberg. This is king of the blockbusters. This is people who show up in June and take their kids and family to the movie theater.
You could tell based on the cast alone, the amount of money that was thrown into all the special effects. Haley Joel Osment, he's like the darling child of the time. They had it all. You have Robin Williams not even doing anything
Chris Rock.
He's just like
Chris Rock.
Throwaway.
Oh yeah, Chris Rock. I honestly thought that Dr. No was probably one of the best parts of the film.
That was done with
that made me hate it more. You threw in Chris Rock because his voice, the Robin Williams part was such a meaningless part to me. And he did an accent that was, to me, like he phoned it in, like he called it in, like, let me do my normal Robin Williams act. It did nothing for me. I was glad to hear him, but it just added to my hatred towards the movie. It was just like, to me, it's like a shittier version of Ready Player One in terms of.
Was Robin Williams in Pinocchio?
Yeah, he was Geppetto, wasn't he?
Yeah, maybe that's why they used him.
I actually hated Jude Law in this movie.
I hate Jude Law.
I thought the way that the character they gave him to play was so awful. Like, I was like, it's just a waste. Awful. It's just a waste of Jude Law.
Something
Jude Law? What is Jude Law good in? I don't like Jude Law.
Law is a treasure. He's a national treasure.
What?
I like Jude Law.
Yeah, what? Name a movie that he's good in, I said.
Weren't we just talking about him last week?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think there's a whole list of...
I pulled it up after we talked about it. There's really not that many. But he's
Contagion, side effects. Right off the top of Contagion, side effects.
Well, I can tell you, I normally don't think he's just fucking retarded the entire time he's on the screen.
I didn't mind him. I thought, like Nick said, to me that was the best part of the movie when they became a duo. That was better than anything else in the movie.
I don't disagree with that because I hated so much. I hated the mom. I hated the dad. I hated the scientist.
I love William Hurt. Big William Hurt guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good actor, but like his character sucked. He foisted his dead son on everyone.
It's Will Hurt.
I can't even remember what the other two were, but the three surprises I thought were good surprises. I was like, damn, that's a good surprise all three times. The one big one was his son.
Yeah, but where the fuck did he go? He goes, "We've been waiting for you."
Yeah. I didn't make any sense either.
Where did he go?
And all of a sudden,
I was like, why is he being left alone for hours?
I rewound it. He jumps off the fucking. He jumps. Where's Daddy? I literally rewound it, thinking when I got to go get a beer, which was the best part of the movie, was the slight away from the scene. I said, "Did I miss a huge scene?" He goes, "We're all waiting for you," and then it's just a bunch of boxes. And I said, "Where'd he go? Like, what's going on?" And besides that, what I wanted to mention earlier, as far as Ben talking about plot points that I really wanted explained, as much research and development went into creating this new level of AI for the time, the highest level of AI. They give it to well, first of all, the worst actress I've ever seen in my life. So, like, she was a big problem for me. But they give it to this couple whose kid is in a coma, right?
Yeah.
They need to find the right people to give it to. Give it to the people whose kid is already dead. No chance that he comes back, because what happens? He comes back.
I thought when they set it up,
but they
that
needed
it was
him to
going to
be
be a family that
discarded.
had lost a child.
That's the whole
that was
point,
so
though, that
poorly-
they're going to
that
be
was so
discarded.
poorly executed.
This
No.
movie was
The kid almost got drowned in a pool because
that was cool.
because
I wish
because
they did. That
did
kid
it
was a
before.
dick.
Yeah, that kid was a
But
douche.
they thought the kid was gonna be. They didn't think he was ever gonna make it out of that incubator
Well, of course
thing.
they didn't, but you need to make sure. You know what I mean? It's like
We just got a new one. No. The dad brought it home without even consulting his wife.
The dad did it to his wife because the company chose the dad because they said this is the perfect candidate.
Yeah, but also William Hurt chose them because he had tragically lost a son, and he wanted to do them.
They hadn't lost it yet. And all I'm saying is a corporation like that that's throwing that many millions of dollars into developing something, you don't leave anything to chance. And it's especially a liability if there's another kid in the picture. Like, I don't know. I did not think that was plausible.
Nick's poking a lot of holes in this plot here.
All right, Nick.
All right.
William Hurt, I think that was all his genius plan. He knew they were going to discard him.
Genius.
At the end, did you watch the ending? Where he's talking about...
Yeah, I saw the ending when he's sitting in the fucking Coney Island staring. I saw it.
Yeah. But did you see William Hurt saying, we wanted to see if you would make your own decisions or not?
And
what would drive you?
Yeah, and they knew that he was going to run into Jude Law and ask a ridiculous series of questions that would unlock the Dr. No program in the middle of Vice City, and they would fly away on a police helicopter.
No, but they gave that to Dr. No.
Yeah,
Dr. No was going to feed that to them no matter what.
Into the program.
I'd rather have Nick explain it. Keep explaining it, Nick. I'm interested now. This movie's sick. Go ahead.
They did explain that.
Did you notice that it looked exactly like Minority Report?
Yes. Minority Report a little more gritty, but yeah, you're right.
They used this harsh, bright light.
Yeah.
And as soon as this movie was over, they were still editing it when he was shooting Minority Report.
Was a hot dog, would you eat it? This movie. Nick, no, I agree with you. They were kind of just bopping around to like, Dr. No, this thing. I had no clue. I had nothing. I wasn't.
The last 40 minutes of the movie seems so stitched together. It was like a fucking.
I will say my critique is I wish Stanley Kubrick had just done it because I did think the first 40 minutes and the last 30 minutes were the best parts of the movie. The whole flesh fair, which was apparently Spielberg's big idea, I didn't really care about. I thought that didn't really work that well. So I wish Spielberg would have just...
your Banshees of Inisherin guy was in there.
Yeah, but he was wasted. He wasn't good in that role.
Not good.
He got beanbagged.
So I wish Kubrick had done it. I loved the ending. To me, that is like one of the perfect sci-fi movie type endings. It's similar to 2001. What he did was he took the 2001 ending where the guy Dave is in the room, and he sort of made it more digestible for a stupid audience.
I hated it.
Like Nick is saying, and he sort of explained it a little bit more.
They had a fake moon. Oh, here comes the fake moon. How fucking stupid are they, man? How stupid are they?
Have you seen this before?
Me?
No.
I thought Teddy was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, Teddy was good. Teddy was money.
Little ass.
I saw this movie in theaters when I was 13 years old with my dad.
Oh, you keep doing this to us, Travis. I don't want to destroy your nostalgia.
No, here's the thing. I didn't really like it as a 13-year-old. I don't think. And I definitely know my dad didn't like it.
You were smart,
man. Taking me to David?
David. And but I don't know. I did like it more this time around. I was entertained by it.
Hey, would that kid ask the same shit over and over? Would he ever shut the fuck up? God, if that was my kid, he would be dead.
Be a real boy.
I'll cut your Android head off.
Well, No
Yeah,
point in
I
hiding.
fucking hated it.
No point in hiding it. I'm like you. I saw this movie probably when I was 13 or 14, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give my rating. This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
love it.
I'm not even trying to do a
Oh,
contrarian. I really enjoy this.
Well, it has
I
been pretty
disagree,
funny.
Nick.
Like,
I think the first 40 minutes are the best part of the movie, and when it cuts to Jude Law, that's when I think, and I agree with what you were saying, Travis. That's when I'm like, it kind of falls apart when they get into the whole flesh fair and the whole just the crazy lights of like the cities. And I really like the ending. I really like just the questions it's asking. I really thought Haley Joel Osment was fantastic. I think Teddy was fantastic. I think this movie just has a lot of things going for it, and I really enjoyed watching it. Not gonna lie.
Oh, you shouldn't lie.
I was entertained, but I also took one note, and it was Haley Joel Osment is a robot. I mean, he fucking nailed
You're right.
that.
That's
shit.
true. He did play a good robot. You're right. That is true.
But he's not as jerky as like Jude Law, but because they were both playing robots, obviously. I felt like Jude Law's was very herky jerky.
Well, he's a
whereas
sex bot. He's
Joel
not a
was
sex
like he
An
was
older
a robot.
he's a goddamn jukebox.
Haley Joel
Yeah.
Osment, this is the favorite role he's been in. He came to Steven Spielberg, said, I don't think the robots should blink. And so none of the AIs blink in the movie. There's a
Great.
couple goofs.
They could also not eat
change my
spinach.
score.
Yeah, they couldn't eat spinach.
Let me go ahead and give my score. It's a 5 out of 10. It's a 5 out of 10. And the reason is
You're
because
generous.
that dumb fucking little kid sat in a car and then they said 2,000 years later. And then I wanted to cut my own head off and
Robot.
join the frost, the death. It was awful. I hated it.
What is so bad about this movie? I don't understand because it gets a lot of hate.
Roger, it does get a lot of hate, but Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4 when he originally saw it. Then he rewatched it a couple years later, gave it a 4 out of 4, put it on his list of best movies.
Yeah, because you know what? It's a good movie.
And then he died because he was a senile old fuck.
Yeah.
People are very opinionated about this, and that's why I don't understand.
I legitimately like. I didn't go into it with the expectation that I wasn't going to like it like I do with some of these movies that we pick because I remember them. Like, I legitimately I was like, I don't even remember this movie. Like, Jude Law's in it. Like, okay, yeah, Haley Joel Osment, he's probably fresh off of fucking Sixth Sense. But I did not ever feel like the story pulled me in and made me give a fuck about it. And honestly, it got annoying. No, I thought it was annoying.
You didn't care when the mom dropped him off in the woods like an abandoned dog, saying,
"No," because it was obviously what was going to happen.
She's a terrible actress.
No, I kind of got it at that point. Try to drown the kid. So
shame on you.
The whole dynamic there, like the husband was the one that reached out with the kid. Like, obviously the company offered it to him, but he was the one that brought it home and actually thought it was a good idea. And then, like, immediately he's the one against it and she's the one that's in love with it. And it's like,
she's the
this is so unbelievable.
The mom,
like,
the moms are the ones who love the kids. I mean, that's.
I do agree there. It was a little weird how he was just all of a sudden.
But
like,
it was just like there was nothing that would have redeemed the android to the mother, like, to make that happen. It's just like, oh, he's here. He's looking at me.
She didn't want it. In the beginning, she hated it. She immediately was like,
but like that's what I'm saying. It didn't do anything to disarm her fears or
remember that spaghetti hanging out of her mouth.
That was little, yeah.
That
was creepy.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Family again.
Eric, I like envy that you liked it in a sense because it was cool looking, and I don't know. I could kind of see.
I just thought all the choices were bad.
But
all of the choices.
Everyone here that likes it saw it when they were young, correct?
Well, yeah, but I don't think I really liked it when I was young.
I don't know.
I was definitely like
I legitimately thought like Is this like Spielberg's ode to A Nightmare Before Christmas? Like,
Well,
that's
it was
also Tim
his.
Burton.
He was trying to
So
be like Stanley Kubrick, I think.
no, it just
I don't know. Like, the whole
I
movie
had
isn't
so
intense,
many
but
problems
that
with the
first
whole
act
thing.
is-
I'm still
I
gonna
couldn't.
give it an
I didn't like
8.5 out of 10.
I didn't like the
Thought it
plot.
was
I
a
didn't like the
solid-
acting.
Thought it was a
I hated
solid,
everything.
entertaining movie. I
And
loved
what year did this come out?
2001.
2001.
I guess I'll give them that. It looked pretty. It looked 5 to 10 years ahead of when it actually
Really
got
good.
made. I'll give them
Yep.
that. But
Yep.
Really good.
fuck, man, like I honestly I felt like
This is a very
I was
divisive
I was
movie. I mean,
I was depressed
It is.
when I was done watching this movie. I questioned why I lived.
I'm not
So I
even
guess-
joking. I'm not even joking. I don't know the last time I've done this. I was sitting on this couch a couple feet to the left of me right now, and I said out loud to myself, "This movie fucking sucks." I said it out loud while watching it. Not
I said
even
that numerous times.
Yeah, I
thinking
actually
here
said to myself, like,
somewhere.
what the fuck? Like, I don't know the last time I've done that. And I would like that I like that there's a discussion. It's actually probably the best conversation we've had about a movie so far because it's so
I
divisive.
was begging for it to be over. I kept checking to see
Let me
how
ask you a
long there was
question.
left, and I was like 50 fucking minutes still?
I
The fact
guess
that there's a 10 on the table, I did not expect a 10, but that's
it's a 10. It's a 10
You know
on the
what I give
Travis
it?
scale.
You know what
of
I give it?
How much
I give it a
That's a
2.5. 2.5 out of 10.
Who would-
That's what I give it.
Wow.
Let me tell
this
you.
2.5.
no,
I
this
can't even
deserves more
believe
than
that
a
anyone
2
gave
and
it
a
over a
half.
5. No,
Here's what I
this
think.
is awful.
Because my impression was the first act, like, which is right after she drops him off, like that whole build. It's like 50 minutes because I paused it right at that point because it was like a perfect stopping point. If you're not into any of that, then there's no way you're gonna like this movie. If you didn't buy the whole Haley Joel Osment, like this family needs a new robot, like the whole point of it, if you're not at that point like intrigued what's gonna happen next after he's dropped off, then there's no way you're gonna like this movie because there's still 2 hours to go from that point. But Nick, you got to take where you're like, that's when it gets.
I have no problem sitting through a long movie, and like I said, I actually liked when they got into the CD. Like that's where
what I mean.
like Blade Runner operates in that Sin City scenario, right? It's like in the seedy underbelly. Like that's where that world is, and I like that.
Yeah.
I think that, and I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying, Eric, where you don't care that
You
much
like that?
about the Vegas scene, but I thought that's the more intriguing question of how can robots be used for vices, right?
I think what you guys are saying, I think they could have, one thing I think they should have explained a little bit better is like what's going on in the world. Like, because in the beginning they're like, oh, it's, apocalypse kind of stuff. The tides have risen and pregnancies are limited. But it's like the only real world stuff we get to see is like that flesh show and people are just like, yeah, kill robots. And then like the rogue city. And it's like, I just don't really understand like what's happening in the world because their family seems like a normal family. But like everywhere else, you don't really know. Like,
stakes,
is it
like,
turmoil or what? Like,
minimal
I think
stakes.
that's
Manhattan's underwater and everything. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I am curious though. Did you not feel like there was a lot of exposition going on in this, where they're just laying things out for you? Like,
sure, I mean, yeah, but I already knew what this movie was about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
I
really-
don't always hate exposition.
what's that?
It's pretty
I
on
don't
the
always
nose.
hate exposition.
Okay.
It is on the nose in the beginning. Like, are you gonna be able to love this? Like, what if if it loves you, you don't have to love it back. Blah blah blah. But I liked the action. Like, I liked the first 50 minutes a lot. Like the dynamics of when the child Martin comes back and like that's real human shit of like siblings fighting for the attention, and I just thought that was well done and it was like interesting, and I cared when Haley Joel Osment got ditched because I was like, man, that's fucked up. But that's kind of the whole point.
What is that kid from? The actual real boy. What is he from that I
Lizzie
remember?
McGuire's brother.
Thank you very much. I couldn't pull it when I was
It
watching.
blew my mind. I was like, that's fucking that little dumb fuck. And he plays like a good little piece of shit, but yeah,
No,
I
he's
didn't
good.
really.
He was good.
He's in something else though too. Now that you say that, he's in something.
But I
Yeah,
do
he
remember
looked
him
at
from Lizzie
Yeah,
McGuire.
he is.
He's in something I've seen. I don't think I've seen what you're talking about.
And Eric, I think the problem for me really, and I think that's a good point. If you're not locked and loaded by the time that that she drops him off, you're not going to really buy it. And I was staring at her like I thought she was going to look at me through the screen and say sorry to me for how bad she was in this movie.
I do think it was kind of weird.
I didn't think she was that. I thought she was pretty good, honestly.
For some reason, maybe I had a bad day and I was really angry. I don't know, but I hated
you had a bad day.
Well, I think Eric's been saying it. I've been saying it. I think that if you like this movie, you like the first 50 minutes and you like the last 30 minutes, and who knows what you thought about the middle 45 minutes.
Did you guys kind of go over what you thought worked in the film? You said you liked it, but did you say what you thought worked?
I think Haley Joel Osment is a fantastic.
Okay, he's a good robot.
I love the ending of the 2,000 year.
But acting aside, you were into the plot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it sold me on the family dynamic of like, this is believable. Like, obviously it's futuristic, but it's like, I could see this. Like, they're hurting. The whole point of that kid was because they wanted to see if
they told you that and showed you the kid that was in the pod. But then you weren't kind of shocked when almost immediately the dad is ready to get rid of it and the mom.
Yeah, I do think that was
like, you didn't think that. I thought that was
okay.
Well, wait, he wasn't ready to get rid of it until the kid comes home, right? He wanted to fix the problem of, their son was probably dead, his wife was miserable, so he brought something home to cheer her up, and when his son came home, he didn't need it anymore.
The way they went they went about that, though, I think if they had done it differently, where the kid was dead already, that it would have worked a little better. If the kid's dead, somehow he still ends up doing some weird shit based on someone else's influence, maybe not the kid coming back to try and do the mother's love, because that's literally all it's programmed to do.
You know what? Actually, that was. Sorry, what?
No, that's just what I'm going to say, because I thought that the whole bringing back of the kid was really, it threw off the whole point of the movie, and then then it creates the other, and it creates the other story where he gets discarded and blah blah blah. But I just felt it condescended itself a lot.
Actually, that was the first surprise that I couldn't think of that really threw me. Was I thought the kid was. I forgot that the kid comes back to life, and I couldn't believe that. And I thought it was fucking perfect, dude. Because obviously, he can't replace the real kid, so obviously they're not going to give a shit about him anymore.
It was like, okay, the kid's home. Oh, yep, he's up, he's walking, he's commanding the new kid, the robot kid, what to do, and no surprise, he is trying to make him look horrible to the mother.
It was just a lot. It was hanging fruit, man. It was.
It really was. I did not think that they. It's surprising to me to realize this wasn't a full-on Spielberg idea, because it really felt like someone took creative control of this and just would not let go of their vision, because a lot of it felt forced, really forced.
I'm understanding now.
That's why I was just begging for the fucking movie to be over.
God damn it! Shut up. This was a master plan by the guy, because he knew that kid was going to come back to life. So that's why he chose these people, because he knew.
Then you should have made that character a more integral part of the film, instead of forcing us to watch that stupid fucking family.
Who? Dr. Hobbs.
Families have love. You can't get love from
Wyatt's favorite actor.
You don't gain love by being fucking nothing. He had to develop some of his emotions over time throughout the movie.
That comes back to my
and through adversities.
Give your scores. Let's move on.
That and a brother and jealousy, and that's why the dad's like, if he can love, he can also hate, and that's when he starts to get worried, because he didn't really think that out in the beginning.
Okay, do you know what the underlying theme is that they're trying to get across? I don't know if anyone brought it up yet. Man is the ultimate problem with creating AI because man is easily corruptible. And so, and I mean, not even easily corruptible, but like corruptible by nature. And so the AI picks up on that.
That's sort of the opposite of the end when the AI at the end love humans.
Realize all the problems that were being created for the AI, for the mechas were from humans creating those problems for them. Like
there was some,
the mechas could have probably created a perfect society on their own had it not been for the influence of man.
I think this is a very proper example as to why you shouldn't mix people's visions. This movie had so many little splices of really cool things, and like, you know, when they were like the way they were killing some of the robots, and like some of that was cool, but like I don't know, man, like it didn't fit. It was just jumping around. I don't know. It just didn't feel like a complete vision.
To me, that's the most fair criticism of this movie. I mean, that's easy to see.
Does Spielberg,
it was two different people.
Does he defend this film to this day, or does he just kind of brush it off?
I have no idea.
I mean, because I gotta say, out of all the things he's made, this is.
I don't know. Spielberg's made some fucking stinkers, man.
I was actually wondering, and I didn't look it up. I want to know what movies that he made. But that's the other thing, Ben. He doesn't need to brush it off because Roger Ebert rewatched and gave it 4 stars, like a perfect score. So he doesn't need to apologize for shit, apparently. But I was trying to figure out what's the worst movie that Spielberg made than this. And I'm sure there are, but I was actually just like, what has he done that's worse than this?
I just find it odd that I had me and my family, no one had any fucking interest.
And I know I didn't give a shit.
In watching this movie when it came out. It just.
The only thing I remembered about this, and I was waiting for it, and I couldn't remember what I said. I remember him at the bottom of the ocean, and what the fuck? Like, I was trying to figure out how he got there. Like, what, or maybe I thought of a different movie. And then when they introduced the Pinocchio thing, I went, it all started flooding back to me when she started reading Pinocchio. And I went, holy shit, here we go.
Yeah, this was kind of like just
here we go.
This is kind of more grandiose Pinocchio, essentially what it is.
Well, yeah, they beat you over the head with that.
Yeah,
I know. They did not make it. They did not make it hard to pick up.
It was so ham-fisted. Jesus,
they didn't try to make it subtle. They literally painted for you. So
I'm Pinocchio.
It's like
I want to be a real boy.
Anyway, I think it's fascinating. It's not worth.
Pinocchio sucks too. Fuck off. All right, can we talk about other shit? This movie blew dick. Good for you, Eric. I wish I had an outlook on life like you. You must have a really good.
I want to hear some of these notes, Eric.
Go ahead.
My first note, I have in quotes, "Do robots dream?" ? And then I put Travis jerk off checklist because that was a quote in the very beginning.
Yeah,
that's the title of the book to Blade Runner.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. That's Travis's favorite quote of all time. Do robots dream of robot sheep?
Dream of electric sheep.
Yeah, they literally say, "Do robots dream?" And I go, "Oh, I know. I see why we're watching this one."
Dude, I don't even.
Okay, and that actually brings me to another point because I remember Hurt saying that in the beginning that he wanted them to dream. That's gonna be it. And then when he finally falls asleep at the end and they say that he dreams, I was like,
he died.
He died?
What?
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, fuck.
Really? That's your interpretation of that? Sorry if I was cutting you off, Ben, but
no, I'm. I just kind of didn't. I just didn't kind of understand the whole. Like, they mentioned it early and then kind of paid it off later, but is kind of like is another one of those things that they explained, but didn't
so how was
really
he able
like.
to? Yeah, no, I didn't understand the ending totally either because they did. You're right. They said he finally went to the place where dreams or whatever.
He died.
So basically,
They confirmed that he died.
Essentially, the whole thing I got from it was that his entire
how does the
existence,
robot?
his entire existence was paid off in that one day he got to spend with his mommy loving him.
He became a real boy essentially and died. I mean, he didn't really become a real boy, but he died.
He had fulfilled
I'm glad he died.
what he considered was.
I was so happy. It was the best ending ever.
Purpose.
He died. He's dying. Fuck yeah! Finally, it's over. He's dead. This is perfect. It was really a good end. It was a good ending. They both died. And that dumb bitch.
I can't wait for the sequel with.
Nick's favorite actress and Haley Joel Osment. They bit it. They bit it at
Nick, what do you think?
What?
He did kind of want to fuck his mom a little bit too much.
Oh,
Nick, what ending? Like, he go to. What did you take of him? Like them saying he finally went to the place for dreams. Like when he closed his eyes. Like, was he sleeping? Is he dead?
I didn't even contemplate it too much because then it faded, and I said, "That's the." Like I said, "Oh, is that the end?" And then it said directed by Steven Spielberg, and I went, "Huh!" I just threw the fucking.
I did it.
Oh, fuck that! Like that's. And to me, what it was is the same thing that once he stares at the princess or the blue whatever, and between that and when the aliens come into the ice age and yada yada yada,
they're not aliens.
It felt like that was just riding into oblivion, and they had to stop at some point, and that's where they stopped. And it didn't feel like closure. It didn't feel well constructed or put together. It felt like hodgepodge.
Did you like the 2001 ending?
And can you remind me of the 2001 ending?
Well, first of all, Dave is in like this room, basically,
and he sees his like the old version of himself with the black box aura, right?
Well, he's older in it. He's
Been
there for a long time,
and he sees his own thing, and then you have the black rectangle in the room.
Yeah. And then the baby.
And then the baby.
Then you just see the baby in it. Yeah, I mean,
is that is that closure?
No, it's not closure. But you know what? The other thing is that movie, I would say, is first and foremost, that is not a linear like this. That story is like it raises a lot of questions. It's very quiet. It's very silent. It's not a story about Pinocchio, right? It's not. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This was Kubrick took 2001. He's like, these dumbass people don't get it. Steven, you're the blockbuster Jaws guy. Can you give them my ideas to a dumber audience?
I would say this, let me put it this way. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough to get this particular ending.
Definitely
To me, it did not resonate. It did not make me think I understand or I felt closure or what an interesting question that was posed. I just felt like, holy moly, I can't believe that they did that to me. I felt used, honestly. That's my take. But I will say this, I like that there are so many differing opinions on this because it means that I don't know shit. You know what I mean?
Well, one interesting thing I found about the ending, the most interesting thing about the ending is how much these advanced AIs seem to look back and love humanity.
That was the one thing I actually really enjoyed was we always think of like the robots are going to take us over and it's an adversarial idea. But the AI that built the next version of AI and all the way until those 2,000 years, what they end with is actually a very empathetic creature that actually wants to reconstruct this thing for this baby, this child robot to give him some feeling that, it's all about his emotion. Like
but they understand how flawed humans are. Like they've seen like the stuff that happened to David, and even before that, I'm sure they had an awareness of all our flaws, but they still loved us for the art and math and stuff that we created.
Sure, and I think that they were very emotive. Like they wanted him to have an emotional experience because he was built to have emotion, right? To love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he hadn't had that.
I thought that was different. Is that usually you don't see robots like, especially robots built from robots that have hardwired into them a lineage of like caring and understanding and care. Usually it's like cold rationality. You know what I mean? Like that's a robot.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
Yeah, they had evolved to the point of empathy, but still not like really. They still
Travis,
look back on art and all this stuff with like reverence.
You're so right in terms of some of these movies we're watching, because I didn't see this movie, especially in its entirety, and now I've seen so many movies that have done. This is the biggest trope, AI, all this like, little kid, like all that shit has been done now. So maybe watching it now, it like literally means nothing because it's the oversaturation of that type of androids or in fucking everything.
I mean, that's just how art works.
All that bullshit.
I mean, you know how many directors loved Steven Spielberg in 2001 and were like 18 years old and loved him, and he loved Dean Lean or whatever, David Lean with Lawrence of Arabia. What?
Dean Lean.
I like Dean Lean. Sounds like something you buy at
Dean Lean. Hey, pause. Who's Dean Lean?
I'm about to tell you. Dean Lean it sounds like a line of frozen foods you would buy at the grocery store.
Dean Lean. It's good shit.
I'm going to get my Dean Lean pot pie tonight, guys.
Yeah, it's good.
No,
David Lean.
David Lean is the director of Lawrence of Arabia, which inspired Steven Spielberg. But yeah, I mean, then people take stuff from Steven Spielberg and other robot movies, and they create their own robot movie. And I mean, that's just how art works.
I'm gonna add another
top 5 robot
rating tonight because I deserve to be shit on, Travis, because you're absolutely right, and I got the quote wrong from Lawrence of Arabia last week.
Oh yeah, I know. I just watched that scene. Of course,
I know you just watched it, and I doubted you, and I feel like a piece of shit, so I apologize, and I'm on my knees to you.
Well, I wish. I mean, even though the guy in that movie did a good job, it was a great little
kiss
scene.
the ring.
But I still wish Sir Alec Guinness had been the one to say that line, because that would have been amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, did you finish it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question.
Anyways, your top 5 favorite robots. I'm going to put Bender at about number 3. I do like Bender from Futurama. He's a bit underrated.
I
mean,
I like the mate from the Jetsons.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you do. You love. What's her fucking name?
Judy.
I don't remember. I said her name.
Yeah, if you're a square, you'll probably go see 3PO, but let's get a little more discreet here, guys.
I mean, number 1 is obviously T-800.
T-800 or T-2000?
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's T-800.
Yeah, no.
Liquid matter.
What other robots are there, huh?
There's a lot. I mean, Wall-E, silly.
Yeah,
Wall-E
can go. So that's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Well, actually, number 1 is, speaking of Blade Runner, is
what?
He loves AI and hates Wall-E.
I mean, that's why this is a cool planet, man.
There's no Wall-E. It's a fucking trash can on him.
You want to talk about a movie directly inspired by 2001?
That's cool.
No, I like Wall-E.
Well, of course you like Wall-E.
So do you guys think that the movie Ted was based off of Teddy?
Dude, I was thinking about what you just said when I was watching it. I was gonna make that joke.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I thought about that.
I thought that was the best voice acting.
Yeah.
Teddy's voice was mesmerizing.
Teddy is like, I don't know. There's something about that. It's so. I love that.
David.
I would not like the movie as much without that.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I hated that is a cool thought.
Toy.
Just a little add-on, but I agree. Like the voice, something about that voice is awesome.
That was also
dry.
the hardest.
It was the only dry humor. It was the only dry humor in the film.
It was pretty dry.
That was also the most.
Did you not hear him when he dropped off the net? He said something funny Or no. He hit the ground and said, "Ow." I laughed. That was the only thing I laughed at.
Well, he was also holding on to David, and he was like, "This is gonna break me."
He laughed at "ow."
Yeah, just because of the way the way it was delivered.
What Nick Cage movie are we talking about next week? Can't wait.
Dracula.
Watch Nick Cage stick his head in a beehive.
Yeah, what Ren, is it Renfield?
Renfield.
No, fuck no.
Robert Renfield.
People are apparently saying that Cage stayed in character as Dracula while they were in between takes.
Forgot about that preview I just saw recently.
The method action.
That looks so bad.
It looks bad,
Cage,
but
man.
like in a good way. It looks like
I guess.
very self-aware that it's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick Cage has evolved to that more self-aware. He knows he's bad, and he's leaned into it very hardcore, and it's good.
Self-aware thing.
Just made a movie,
and it's good.
Are we gonna watch? Here's the $1 million question: are we gonna watch Big Shark?
Yeah,
Big Shark.
I'll watch it.
You'll watch it?
Are
we gonna review it? It's by It's directed by Tommy Wiseau.
Excuse me?
Tommy Wiseau.
Oh.
It's a piece of shit. Is what he's saying.
When I saw the poster for it, I was thinking, what if Jaws was called Big Shark? You know?
Yeah.
Like, think if that was what Jaws was.
It looks like a ninja.
It would be called Big Shark.
Yeah.
That would be so dumb.
The crazy thing is, like, if you watch anything in Spanish, like a lot of
I don't speak Spanish.
Sub-Zero.
I know, but a lot of the movie titles are so literal. Like Jaws is probably called the Big Shark in Spanish. In the Spanish title.
Tiburón.
Yeah.
Muy peligroso.
Like it's they have the weirdest translations. Shrinking in the Spanish title is therapy without filter or something.
Very nice. Oh my god, dude. I want to watch Borat, the original, because I keep seeing clips from the original where he like that. I think people sleep on how good that movie was because the second one was like, I don't know, very mediocre in comparison.
Well, to me it's like wrestling. I mean, I still don't know. Is it real or not? Is it scripted?
It's real for the people that it's real for the people he's interacting with.
Yeah.
They don't know anything.
Those motherfuckers don't know.
I'm sure they can pick up on it at a certain point.
Some of Nathan Fielder shit, he like is not all. That's not all real.
Yeah, I swear it's like Kim Kardashian shit. It's like all fake.
Like there's some fakeness to that shit. And like,
I don't
like too much on it, but
which doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but I'm always thinking like, is it real? Is it not? I don't know.
It's not totally scripted, but some people kind of know sometimes what's going on in those scenes.
Arjan.
Arjan?
What is it?
Arjan.
Ooh, yes, money gonna go.
Talking about Borat.
Oh.
I'm not done talking about this movie, but
yeah.
if everyone else,
what other notes you got?
Keep going with your
Why? Because I could not. What else?
Well, that's the thing, Ben. I'm actually more interested in Travis and Eric's opinion than any other movie we discussed because it's so different.
Why? Because it seems so fucking wrong.
Well, it definitely conflicts with my opinion.
I mean, you have to understand that movies are subjective, don't you, Ben?
Yeah. Podcast.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I remember I called in.
Honestly, though, I feel like Eric gets off on having the differing opinion.
No, that's why I said like I didn't know you guys were gonna hate this.
I
probably am a natural contrarian, but I legitimately enjoyed the hell out of watching this movie.
Really quickly, Eric, before
you're allowed to
your notes. I was very shocked. I was especially shocked because you kept saying in the text messages, "Get your lunch pail ready" or whatever you.
Well, I was shocked at how long it was.
It's only 2.5 hours. That's like standard now.
How long was it?
That was a hard 2.5 hours.
It's standard for all terrible movies that don't deserve to be that long.
Yeah.
If you remember,
how long was the movie I sent you?
What, Eric?
Stood up for AI when you brought it up last week. I said that's the perfect movie because I know it's a very divisive movie, and I thought that I liked it, but I hadn't seen it in a long time, so I was like, "Ooh, that's good. I want to watch it again."
Ooh la la!
I might watch it tomorrow.
Watch it tomorrow.
You guys want to know something? I started watching this movie. I thought I finished this movie, and I was so happy. I was going about my day. I had paused it, and something had distracted me, and I realized I had over an hour left. Okay, guys? Okay, you guys? My wife thought I finished it, too. She was like, oh, that you're done with that, huh? Nope. No, I'm not.
Last
Oddly
week,
enough,
Eric and I were talking after the recording. We stayed on here, and
the wrong Annika.
And I realized that I needed to watch Miller's Crossing, and then I recommended a movie to him. How long do you think the movie that I recommended to you is, Eric? Or do you already know?
Oh, I'd probably 3 hours at least.
3 hours and 25 minutes long.
And do you know how long I made it through that movie?
You said you got through 10 minutes, maybe.
Which
I think
movie?
I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep within 5 minutes. No, I was hammered. I didn't realize how hammered I was.
What movie was that?
It's some Russian propaganda. I guarantee it.
It's certainly not propaganda.
Black and white, and the guy's riding around in like a helicopter, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck's happening, and then I fucking passed out.
Helicopter.
But I'm gonna go back and watch it because I do want to see what it's about.
It's about I'll just really quickly read the brief synopsis. I saw this a couple years back on a whim. I was telling Eric, I went to Barnes and Noble to buy baby books. And I saw the Criterion collection as I passed by. So she went to go look at Dr. Seuss, and I just started staring at the shit. And the coolest cover I saw was this. And I'd seen one movie by this director already. He's the most famous Russian director of all time, okay? And it is an expansive...
Tarkovsky?
Yes. Tarkovsky, yeah.
What is it, Solaris?
No, it's Andrei Rublev. So I recommended Stalker to you before, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that?
No, but you gave me the book. I read the book and liked the book.
I never read it, but I know I bought it, and you can keep. I'll never read it.
Well, I spilled hand sanitizer on it. It's gone. It's ruined.
Anyway, it's about a true story of a 14th century Russian icon painter. Anyway, a real doozy. Not for the shoehorn, not for the faint of heart. But Miller's Crossing was pretty cool, actually. And I was pretty hammered watching that.
Well, we wanted to do that on the shoehorn.
Well, I can still talk about it next week or whatever.
Right.
Whose turn is it? Because I'm going to go ahead and offer up Seinfeld Season 1, Episode 1, boys.
But please, I'm sorry. I've derailed it so far, Eric. Can you please tell me what your rest of your notes were?
I just wanted to have some closing thoughts. I don't know if anyone else did. I mean, I understand why people don't like this movie, I guess. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of random notes, honestly.
Read them.
I don't really know.
You know what? I mean, he did it.
Oh.
Can I just say I have one last thought, and then I'm done. I love the Spielberg hallmark of the rear view mirror shot, which he obviously did in Jurassic Park. But in this one, the woman is driving away, leaving him, and they do the rear view mirror shot, and David just looks so fucking sad in the rear view mirror. I thought that was a fucking amazing shot.
David.
I like that one. And the one I have as one of my notes, in their house, they have that glass door and it's kind of like rippled. I don't know how to describe it.
Yep.
There's one where he's like looking to the side and like he's like, it's almost like cut sections of him. Like, I like that one a lot.
They did another one with that was really creepy when he was like closing the door. When he was being so creepy in the beginning, like following her around. And
yeah.
That was fucking weird. And they showed that same door, him closing it all like robotically slow. Like, okay, mommy, I'll leave you alone while I look at your vagina on the toilet.
See, I was loving those first 40 minutes.
I fucking hated it.
That was fucking Kubrick.
God damn, fucking.
It seemed like there was no chance they're gonna keep that kid. Like, Now, obviously, I get what Ben's saying. I was like, why? How all of a sudden, then the dad just like, what? I don't want it. So I get that.
You know, I've
Another
seen
note.
Kubrick do the domestic tension, like the problem at home scene, and that's called Eyes Wide Shut, and that's really good. What Spielberg did with that information was not anywhere close to what I've seen Kubrick pull off. Not even close.
He's
And
not
also,
Kubrick.
And exactly, and a lot of the stuff that Kubrick does,
different.
he doesn't use these glossy ass. I think it's all digital. Like he doesn't.
Dude, it's like
Kubrick's using film, which looks different, feels different. This is glossy ass trash, in my opinion. Like,
okay, I figured it out. You know what it is? It's
What,
like
Minority Report is trash?
Minority Report's money, but it's also.
Hear those, when you hear those songs that are mashups of a beat that's great in a song on lyrics, and it's like, why the fuck would you do this? That's what this is. They don't mesh. Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick style do not mesh.
I agree with that.
They're not similar filmmakers at all. And I'm not saying either are bad. They're both legends. I love both of their movies.
Kubrick asked him to
Don't
make
mesh.
Stanley Kubrick, this is the quote, asked him to do it because he thought it fit Spielberg's sensibilities more.
Exactly.
He thought
but
Spielberg
the
could do a better
idea
version.
of an artist putting it into the hands of a fucking like glorified. I don't know, man.
Was too much instead of making it his own. That was the problem.
So
you can't do that. It's not art.
An 8.5 from
Pop music. This is pop music. This is someone else writing the lyrics for Taylor Swift or some dumb shit.
To find out that the parts that were Kubrick, like Travis mentioned earlier, were the beginning and end, and the middle was the part.
I hated those parts.
It was the opposite. I would have bet my life it was the opposite.
I enjoyed 0% of the film, so
I agree,
I don't
Eric.
know what to
That's
think
so
about
true.
that.
I agree with that, Eric.
Actually, you know
I
what?
thought
That
it
was
the exact opposite of that.
That was in the notes that everyone thought that Spielberg took a dark Kubrick movie and made it all lighter in the beginning and the end. But those were actually the Kubrick parts, and he had the sort of the darker parts with the flesh fair and the
very weird
city.
And aren't you, Steven? And he was like, motherfuckers.
So there's a hold on. There's really oh boy.
Cat got loose.
How about Teddy? Keeping that?
Cat got your tongue?
Yeah, that was crazy.
So besides this, there's only one other movie that I know Kubrick did not do. Okay? And Kubrick spends a lot of fucking time on the stuff that he actually does.
Yeah.
This is a book Carly's husband gave me at one point. It is a full
that gem of a human
book.
It's a big dick boy.
On his research for Napoleon. This is Kubrick's research for Napoleon. Okay?
Oh my God.
And Kubrick, he went down, he had like costumes, it's the full script, everything's in this thing. Like there's
Did they ever make that movie?
I want to see some of those shots again. What are those little pictures of? Shots?
These are like postage stamps from the era. He was getting deep into what he wanted the characters to look like, and he has people in full costume. He's looking at settings that he wants to shoot it in all the way down. But you know what? He never ended up making this. And then and now this year, Napoleon.
Do you know who's doing it?
I do know who's doing it. And it scares the shit out of me.
Who? Spielberg.
Spielberg. Okay.
Who's Napoleon?
Oh no! Why is Spielberg getting a bad rap all of a sudden? He's done the greatest movies.
No! It's not that. It's not that.
Who's Napoleon? Who is Napoleon?
I want to know
Joaquin Phoenix is playing Napoleon.
I want to know what were the backstories, but like when Steven Spielberg when Steven Spielberg's previous films, who was behind the scripts? Like who was involved? You know what I mean? Like
he's usually not the writer. He's usually just the director.
You are.
But I still want to know. Like I don't know, man. It's just kind of like.
I think all different people.
I don't think he wrote like E.T. I mean, Jurassic Park was a book. Jaws was a book.
No, he didn't have any writing
who adapts them into scripts.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, Jurassic Park the script was by Michael Crichton, who wrote the book, and some other people probably.
He's a very, in my opinion,
he has put it into a visual medium. Take it from text and put it into.
I think he's a hit or miss director. I like a lot of what he does. some of it I really don't like. Like some of it, I'm looking at it now. What?
He's master emotion manipulator somewhat.
What don't
right?
you like? I'm looking at it. It's hard to find ones that I don't like. I mean, there's some obviously.
Wasn't a big fan of The Post. I actually think I like Bridge of Spies more than I should have. I didn't like how a lot of what he does is very like Saving Private Ryan is very gritty. I think he does a good job. Like people are dirty and shit. But then he does stuff like Bridge of Spies where everything's kind of glossy. Everybody looks like well maintained. Like it doesn't have that same sensibility. Like think about if he did Braveheart. Like Braveheart, everybody's covered in mud and shit. Like, and it makes it feel more real. I think a lot of the stuff he does, like Warhorse, trash. Hate that shit.
Oh God.
Munich, I thought was one of the worst films. Hated
Never
Munich.
saw it.
The last Indiana Jones I hated. But then again, he makes excellent films. He made Catch Me If You Can, rewatchability on 1,000. You know
Terminal.
what I mean?
Oh yeah.
The Terminal's money. Lincoln is fantastic. And these are all just more recent movies, right?
Minority
Report.
All right, here's another divisive. I think Spielberg one is War of the Worlds.
I like War of the Worlds, and mostly because of Tim Robbins saves that movie from itself.
Yeah, Tim Robbins is amazing, dude.
Tim Robbins owns that shit, dude.
Who is Tim Robbins in that?
Tom Cruise's buddy?
I'm thinking of the right name, right? The guy from Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
He's in War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
He's like, that's part of it. He's like the guy in the basement that like kind of like lost his fucking mind.
Yeah. He's like got a shotgun.
Okay, but he's not in it for a long time.
No. He's a cameo, but it's like one of the better cameos. Like
oh, my bad. I looked up War of the Worlds, and of course, there's a show on Epix. They made it into a show now, guys. On Epix.
It's not out yet, though, right?
No, it's been out.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, since 2019. Nobody gives a fuck. Yeah, I don't know. War of the Worlds. I don't know. I do like it, but yeah, it's kind of it's okay.
Really, I'm surprised to hear people liked it. I thought nobody liked it but me. But
like what?
I love Tom Cruise.
War of the Worlds.
I liked it.
Dakota Fanning is great. She's fucking great, man. But when she was a kid, she was tremendous in everything she did. Man on Fire, she was tremendous in Man on Fire.
Yeah.
Man on Fire's money. So money.
That movie's insane, dude. So yeah, whose pick is it this week?
I'm looking that up right now.
Isn't it Wyatt?
It's not me. I am not ready.
Why gave it a? What did you say?
He gave it a 5. Ben gave it a 2.5. Nick, I don't think you gave an official rating. 4. 4 out of 10. Eric, do you have any other notes you'd like to run through?
I think the crowd is.
Give us some closing thoughts, Eric.
I want to hear your notes, man. You said I asked last time. You were like, they're kind of all over the place.
They're just little notes. They're really nothing important at this point, honestly. It was just like jog my memory about certain scenes and stuff.
No, do it.
My closing thoughts on this movie are that I can understand if people don't like it. To my end, like my recollection of this movie is that a lot of people think it sucks. So that's why I was wanted to watch it, because I was like, I don't remember it sucking that bad. And rewatching it, I enjoyed it. I like the story. I think Haley Joel Osment is very good. I find him extremely interesting. I like Teddy. I like Teddy. The chances this movie takes. I didn't know that Kubrick was involved in this, honestly, and so I looked it up. It's not a perfect movie, but for me, I enjoyed watching it. I would watch it again. I will give it an official 9 out of 10. Yeah, take it as you will.
I've never had to shoehorn a movie in harder than this one. This one was shoehorned in so goddamn hard. And it hurts. And it hurts. It hurts. Oh, it hurts.
I mean,
talk to me.
I'm surprised you went lower on it. Why? I thought you had a chance. I thought you might like it. I was pretty sure Ben wasn't going to like it. And maybe Nick.
Like much.
I thought you might like it.
What? Wyatt, it's your turn, but we can't watch Seinfeld season 1.
Season 1, episode 1, Eric.
It's a different podcast.
It's not my turn. I just wanted to throw this out there as a potential for the future. There's a movie called Max. Have you guys ever heard of the movie Max?
Max?
Okay. So John Cusack's in this, which Ben is a fan of the Cusack.
High Fidelity. Good movie.
This is the story of a young artist named Adolf Hitler and his relationship with a Jewish art dealer and teacher, Max Hoffman, in 1918. As the 29-year-old World War I veteran's attempt to learn his art failed to match his hopes, Hitler's interests turned elsewhere to hatred of Jews and Germany's future. You explore in the aftermath of World War I a disillusioned Germany and a young, failing artist of Hitler. It's not a great movie like pound for pound. It's not like but it's a really.
You've seen it?
Yeah, I used to own it. I lent it to somebody and it's gone. But I just remember that movie for some reason. That's
the whole interesting thing about World War II was, how Germany was ripe for the pickings with, how beat down they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you build the void. They announced the Treaty of Versailles and everything. Like it gets deep. It's a sick ass movie, I think. But it's good if you see like how his art and political.
I think that fits the criteria of what I want for happy movies.
Yeah.
Oh no! I just
guys
for an option. But yeah,
let me ask you this question. Let me put this out there. Have any of you seen a movie called Hunter Killer?
No.
Okay, see, this is it didn't get. I think that this movie is underrated as fuck. I had a hell of a time watching this movie. Okay, this is Gerard Butler and my man Gary Oldman in a submarine, crazy submarine war. I don't know what war it's in. Maybe World War or whatever.
Crazy submarine.
Yeah, it's just Navy, but
it's preventing World War III.
Yeah, so like I don't know, man. I just thought of it because nobody ever thinks of this movie. Gary Oldman is a very respected actor, but he does do a lot of shit, so I'm sure some of them are throwaways, but I think this movie's underrated as shit. I'm not saying this is my choice, but I kind of just thought of it randomly.
If you want to, I'll read the synopsis really quickly if you want me to.
Go ahead.
American submarine captain Joe Glass is on the hunt for a U.S. sub in distress in the Arctic Ocean. He soon learns that a secret Russian coup is in the offing, a conspiracy that threatens to dismantle the world order. With crew and country on the line, Glass must assemble an elite group of Navy SEALs to sneak through enemy waters, rescue the kidnapped Russian president, and prevent World War III. October 26, 2018 was when this was made.
Sounds a lot like Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Anyway,
it got horrible ratings because Gerard Butler's in it, but to be honest, I was riveted. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put that out there. It's my pick. It literally isn't a great movie.
What else? What other thing? What else you got in the tank?
Okay, cool. No problem.
I'm just asking.
You should quiet. He made
What's
you watch A.I. You better make him watch this.
No,
what?
That's fine. I'm not saying that you can't pick it. I'm just wondering what else you got there.
Hold on. I didn't know it was my day. Give me a sec here. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right, here to help you out. Here, if you type in the best feel-good movies on Indie,
That never works, Travis.
Well, here's number one is a great one. The Terminal. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
Down the line, Little Miss Sunshine. We also mentioned About Time.
Yeah.
And
I don't get how that's.
All right, here's one. This could be one of my picks coming up because I've never seen it. I really wanted to see it. Everybody says how feel good it is. Okay. Chef.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Chef?
No.
It's a good movie.
Wow.
I haven't seen it.
Ben, definitely, you've seen Chef, correct?
Ben is Chef.
Yeah. That is. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Chef to me, Travis, is like a big year, but with cooking.
That sounds wonderful.
Watch it regardless. It's just so fun.
And I brought this up before. What if we come up with a different structure instead of I want to choose this? Like, what if you're forced into something somewhat?
Like,
I guess
We've
so.
still been. Nobody wanted to watch AI. We're still forcing people.
No, I know, but like, what if it's like, all right, it's White's turn, but he has to pick a movie from the '80s, and then he can do that. Or, I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
So the genre theme that I came up with originally, oh, that's funny how that came about.
Well, I don't remember that, Ben. I like that idea. What's your idea?
Well, that was my idea. Was like you had to pick a movie, but it had to fit in the genre.
I should just make all you pussies watch Capote finally, because Nick's the only one that's seen it. Correct?
I'm pretty sure I've seen.
Why not? I'm going to stick to tradition. I'm going to watch a movie after we get off the call tonight, and I might as well pop in Capote again. Why not? You know what?
Exactly.
While you're thinking of that, there's a movie called I think it's called In Cold Blood, and it's the same thing, except it's like an HBO original movie. It's the same story, but there's a different actor that it's just a different. It's pretty good.
I feel like I remember him. Yeah,
it's like an original.
Isn't that what it's based off of? Like the book In Cold Blood or something?
The book is In Cold Blood. That
right.
The story that is of Capote.
Truman Capote, right? Okay.
But I forget what the same actor plays Hitchcock. Remember when Hitchcock came out with what's his name? Anthony Hopkins. They made Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins, and it was about him making.
I don't remember that. No.
The same actor that plays Capote plays Hitchcock the same year Hitchcock came out, except it's about the making of The Birds.
Oh, right.
And that movie is way better than Hitchcock. That is
The Birds. My dad was obsessed with The Birds.
But it's about his infatuation with the blondes on camera with him. It's so fucking. I think it's called like the Girl or something like that.
Okay.
Alvarez.
Did he hit a bomb?
Yeah,
did he bong one?
Of course he did. That dude's a
beast.
beast.
1967 In Cold Blood, and I was watching that like last month on AMC for a little bit. It was interesting. Didn't finish it all, but because we were talking about that a couple months ago.
God, I'm looking at my old 13th Warrior. Oh God.
Hey.
Well, I have we talked about Capote's on the list. We got Hubie Halloween. We got
The Vast of Night. The Vast of Night is his choice.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. We got to keep that on the list.
No, I'm good. That's your choice. I'm good for now.
Don't make me watch.
What?
You have another one.
Have you seen it, Nick?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Ben, you're next week, by the way.
How many people? I'm
like
sure.
It?
I know Travis has seen it. Probably Ben. Have you all seen Ready Player One?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, of course.
No, I don't think so.
I can watch it again.
That's a good Spielberg movie.
The only thing I ever heard of that was Pedram told me to listen to the podcast that Big O and Dukes did on reading Ready Player One. And Sven, the gay guy, was part of that, and it was one of the best podcasts I'd ever heard. Is them reviewing.
Oh yeah, did you? Yeah, you need to listen. Sven, that guy was a meth addict. Like the trajectory of Chad Dukes' like friendships. It's like Star Wars. Like it's a universe. Like Sven was taking it up the ass, but then I found out he was a meth addict the whole time, and now I don't talk to him at all. And dude, it's great. Like. Wow. It's crazy his shared universe. Like this gay dude then was a secret. How do you be a secret meth addict? When I was addicted to drugs, it was pretty obvious.
Some people can hide it. I don't know.
Breezy fell for it.
I showed you all. I remember. Yeah, dude.
Well, we going with Hunter Killer or what? I mean, Linda Cardinelli's in this.
You got nothing else, then we'll do Hunter Killer.
No, see, this to me is like this is a very brave choice because this is not. I don't think anyone's picked a movie that was rated that poorly.
If one of you dies, I will hunt your killer.
I mean, AI everyone hates, so fuck it.
No, dude, watch. I don't give a fuck. I'll put my name on it. I already did Everything Everywhere All at Once. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. I kind of just did it. So
in my opinion, you've only picked great movies.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you so much.
Well, let me bring up the records and see.
Two for two.
and everything everywhere all at once. I thought
Nope
was
changed my life, man. Nope made me realize that I'm an idiot. Like I looked at that movie, like why would I watch that? It looks so meaningless. I don't get like what is that gonna do for me?
Nope was the best one so far, I think, universally.
Yeah, let's
That
rank
was-
these movies. Also,
That was perfect for this podcast.
Nope
Well,
was
Peter-
awesome.
Preconceived notion of what it was and it wasn't.
I watched that after you guys had already reviewed it, and I was blown away,
blown.
George.
Blown away.
I was
Blown.
Nope was
Girl.
you know,
Blown.
I faked it. I faked it before.
Suspended in the building.
You know, when it's just been enough, and you just want to get some sleep. You know, I faked an orgasm.
So I'm sorry. So the final answer was we're watching the submarine movie.
Yeah, Hunter Killer.
Hunter Killer.
We're doing Hunter Killer, boys.
The Cardellini's in it, and I
Happy.
like her a lot.
It's the movie version of Battleship, but not the movie
This
version of
movie, if you can't get into this tactical warfare, I don't think you were meant to be a Navy SEAL.
You know what I never seen is War Games.
Oh,
Me neither.
wow.
Which one?
Ferris Bueller guy.
Yeah, with Ferris
Matthew
Yeah.
Bueller.
Broderick.
Yeah,
The
it's
original?
pretty-
That's a good
Very
movie.
Ferris
Doesn't
Bueller.
it have Patrick Stewart? Patrick Stewart's the bad guy.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
It is Matthew Broderick is in it.
yeah.
That
Brock-
sounds pretty
but
good.
Patrick
Matthew
Stewart is
Broderick versus
also in it.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Sir Patrick Stewart to you, Travis.
Ben, how about you?
All right, so
get
it's-
a movie next week because you have next week.
Uh,
Can't
No,
have-
we're gonna watch
can't
Kiss Kiss
be,
Bang Bang.
Nick Cage in it.
yeah, I'm gonna force you to watch Kiss Kiss.
Con Air.
I'll end this pod.
All right.
I have to
that's
watch
been
I'm
it.
sorry, but if I had to
The-
watch AI, somebody's watching Kiss Kiss.
Why is AI that bad? It's not. That.
I
Eric,
really
just my
did not
rating,
like
man.
that fucking movie.
Ben said he didn't like one thing about AI. I don't understand it.
2.5. That's pretty
I
ridiculous.
said I didn't like anything about
I
it.
know.
You like
Actually,
the
that's a
music.
lie. That's a lie. I like
Teddy.
Teddy.
Teddy
Teddy was my favorite part of the movie.
That is one of the
If you
best.
don't like,
in
if
any
you don't
movie.
like Teddy in that movie, you don't have a soul.
Look like Brigsby Bear.
I like that question though. Somebody posed earlier. What's the best robots in movie history? I like that a lot. I've been thinking
Iron
about it.
Giant.
Very much.
The one that Alan Tudyk played in the
Yeah,
Star
He was
Wars
pretty
show.
good. Yeah, what
That was
K2SO.
awesome.
Yeah, he
K2SO.
was- K2SO, good call. Wow, Travis knows his droids. That's
Oh,
really
let's
good,
talk about
Travis. That's
movie history.
respect, dude. I respect you for that, dude.
Pops up as AI.
Now it's hard to think because there are a lot. Like,
BB-88, R2D2, C-3PO.
yeah, it's mostly Star Wars shit.
Well,
I
non-Star
mean, what
Wars.
about Data? What about Data?
Yo, Data, that's a really fucking good call.
Yeah, I would probably
What's
go
Data?
Data up there. I love Data.
What's Data?
Star Trek.
Not a fan of Chappie.
No, you
Yeah.
know what? I was about to say this earlier. My number one, especially because of the final monologue.
Yeah,
We talked
gangsta
about
number
it
one.
a lot. I can't go a podcast without bringing it up. Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner.
Oh wow! I just realized.
Oh wow, yeah.
Taiki Waititi is obviously the voice of Chappie, right?
I don't know.
I don't recall. You might be right. I don't
The
remember.
interesting question that you just posed to me, Travis, because I'm thinking of non-human actors. Like,
Non-androids.
yeah, like
Robots.
actual
Yeah, I probably twisted it too much.
no, that's. I mean,
He's a pretty good. Taiki Waititi's a pretty good android too. In the Mandalorian show,
Oh yeah, he was that other dumb fucking.
He was the
thing
battle
ate at
droid.
first. Yeah.
he was the battle droid.
What about Tars
Fuck Mandalorian.
from
Tars.
Oh,
No, Tars was really good.
HAL 9000?
Yeah.
that's
of course.
Wally, isn't it? Or is
No,
that?
that's 2001.
Well, they
Yeah,
Hal is
that's-
Wally.
what
Oh.
about Android 16,
Uh-huh.
17, and 18 from Dragon Ball?
I don't know that.
No, Tars is a
don't
good
know
one
the-
because Tars was like really sort of funny without, I don't know, trying to be sort of. I mean, they were trying to make him funny, but Didn't seem like he was trying to be funny.
Man.
In Interstellar,
I don't even remember.
Well,
I
don't even remember.
he's just a square, robot that they use.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, dude, you got to go Optimus Prime.
No, you don't.
Car.
Yeah, you kind of do. I mean, no.
Are you Samuel Witwicky?
Yeah,
David.
Hey, bro. Whoa, dude, I'm gonna eventually beat the shit out of my girlfriend, dude. That's what's up.
That is not the Optimus Prime that I grew up with.
This is a message for all Autobots.
Yeah,
grew
no,
up
Megatron would be way better,
with
but yeah,
the
fucking.
animated. I grew up with the animated Transformers movie. That was the shit.
Okay, that's good for you. I'll just stick to Hey Arnold, Doug, Rocket Power, just living the good life.
You can't have those two.
Rocco's
No.
Modern Life.
Can't have it all. Can't have it all, Ben.
Yeah, Rocco's is good. I guess Hey Arnold's
Check that,
probably.
man.
I didn't really
Unicron?
watch Transformers as a kid, too. I don't remember watching it. I don't remember watching it like that.
You got the power.
I definitely. It was an '80s thing.
Is that a Boogie
Yeah.
Nights, Ben?
Was that Charlie Day? Were you about to sing it?
That's the song. Oh, hold on a second. It's a song. It's a real song. It's on Spotify.
Fire lives inside of my soul. It lives
No, that's
in
not it.
me.
Oh, I got the best one. Alpha 5 from Power Rangers.
Oh wow! Ay. Yeah, Alpha 5 ripped. You see, they're coming out with a revamp, a reboot with all the original cast guys. I posted it in the
oldies.
chat. You guys all in?
Yep.
Yeah, Stan Bush.
Good,
Stan
good.
Bush.
You're all
The
in?
Touch.
I'm not all in.
Yeah.
I'm
It
out.
just reminded me, Travis. Did you watch Magnolia?
Yeah, you probably.
No, I want to.
You're watching.
I was reading
good
something
quality. That's
that
good
mentioned
quality audio. Thanks for
Magnolia the
that.
other day.
Yeah,
Nope,
well, you started
DirecTV.
before. You're doing hard lifting right now. You're watching.
This is. I'm gonna. I'll see you.
Well, HBO. I mean, they've got a lot of fucking good movies
Harley-
on right now.
Dude, Carly's husband has a
Don't
Criterion
recognize that.
collection. He has like a login to Criterion.
Oh shit, that is on the Boogie Nights
It's
soundtrack.
unreal shit that's in there. Like, it scares me.
What is Criterion?
So,
Nick,
like,
how did you know that?
what?
That
He
song
loves
is on
Boogie
the Boogie
Nights.
Nights. That song's on the Boogie Nights soundtrack also.
Because they get all coked up, and him and John C. Reilly are in the studio trying to record it. Like, it's like a funny ass scene. I mean, they're starting the downward spiral, but yeah, it's very. Yeah,
I don't think I've seen Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights. You sounded like you're a serious foreigner.
It's Travolta, right? It's Travolta and it's like a disco
Boogie Nights.
movie, right?
No, it's not Travolta. It's Mark Wahlberg, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mark Wahlberg and John C.
Right.
Reilly are in studio together.
And Hoffman, right?
Yeah, I could,
Well, yeah.
that sounds pretty. John C. Reilly is such an.
You got
like his
William
early-
H. Macy,
his-
Don
His
Cheadle's in
early
there.
career, is so underrated. Like he was in a lot of shit before he started becoming like Will Ferrell's sidekick.
In
know?
Walk Hard, in the what is that called?
Hard.
The audio
Dewey
commentary.
Cox.
They talk about the dad of Dewey Cox in Walk Hard, and he says this is his transition into fake movies because he was like, they said he was a good actor, and then he did Walk Hard, and they're saying now he's not a good actor anymore because now he's doing this. And John C. Reilly says openly after that, I remember my transition into fake movies because to your point, he used to be a pretty big swinging dick. He was in several Scorsese movies. He was in he was a big player in all of P.T. Anderson's first thing.
Gangs of New York.
Yeah, that's Scorsese. So Hard 8 was like one of his starts. Boogie Nights, Magnolia, he's in. They're all serious acting jobs.
Yeah.
I actually was just upstairs watching. This is not a serious movie, but he was in Never Been Kissed. Like he'd kind of bounce around.
He's in like a cop or detective sort of film too, I think.
Probably, I don't remember, but yeah, he's like he used to be a swinging dick, and
He
then
was
he
a
just
legit
started.
Yeah, he was in only serious films, and then all of a sudden I grew up and he was in all these comedies. And I was like, what the fuck happened?
Isn't he like a stage, like a Broadway trained fucking actor? He's like a legitimate singer actor. Like he's a fucking talent, dude.
Yeah, he's serious. And he's also musically gifted too.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Like he legitimately is.
He's got chops, is a good way to put it.
He's not Will Ferrell.
And he's also
Did you touch my drum set?
Dude, it's funny. Did you hear about the that Will Ferrell was like had a like his fallout with Adam McKay was over the that Lakers show because Will Ferrell wanted to be Jerry Buss and he was like, no, you're not a good enough actor. Like we're gonna go with John C. Like they literally became not friends.
We're gonna go with a real actor.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna go with a real actor because you're not like you're. Will Ferrell's a legend, but he's not. What has he ever done? He's never really taken that.
Every time he's tried to. Yeah, every time he's tried to do a somewhat serious movie, it has not been good.
I mean, Stranger Than Fiction was probably his best, like, but you know what I mean, like in terms of like not just being like a straight weird.
Everything
comedy.
Must Go was pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't know,
but
man.
Not as good as anything.
John C. Riley's
done.
Yeah, he's just it's just different.
Yeah,
I would have unfortunately made the exact same decision. John C. Riley would have been my choice too.
Vince Vaughn and Will Ferrell are in the same category for me in terms of I don't trust them in serious roles.
Oh God, give me Vince Vaughn.
I would trust Vince Vaughn.
Give me him.
You trust him more, but if you watch Gus Van Sant's Psycho, you want to kill yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, you're right.
Well, why does he get accolades for that film then?
I don't know. The same reason people are blowing their loads to AI. I don't know.
Good one. That was a good one.
500 kids.
Vince Vaughn probably one of my the dark horse favorite comedian of all time. Like everything he did when he did it.
I don't like him. I don't
like him.
I
know. Right. You're right. I can't name one.
Like Owen Wilson can float around just the same as John C. Riley can. He can do both sides. I kind of trust him in both. Luke Wilson even more so.
It's kind of not fair because his entire family is actors. Like all his brothers were literally. He has another brother too. That's been in shit you don't even notice. I'm sure his oldest brother. So literally all three of his.
Who is it?
Dude, he has like a small part in one of his movies too that you would be like, wow, 100. He sounds exactly like him.
Tim Wilson.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, look it up. He was in this weird.
I made that up.
No, Tim Wilson. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Luke Wilson, other brother.
Yeah.
That's like. Have you seen Macaulay Culkin's brother? Now now he's in Succession.
He's in a bunch of shit now.
Yeah, but if you go back and watch Home Alone, he's in it, and he looks just like Macaulay Culkin, except they gave him the huge Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah,
so
he
don't
was
notice.
The bed, the cousin or whatever, right?
And once you know that he's Macaulay Culkin's brother, he looks just like him.
He was in other shit too, I think.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. He's been in other movies.
Yeah, he's been in shit.
You hear that guy talk? I saw him in some random movie. I was like,
I think he was
in Bottle Rocket. This guy's Scott, like part of the
wasn't he in Scott Pilgrim?
He was in some random. He has some random side part in some other movie too.
Yeah, he's thrown in. He's part of the back to where we started today. He's part of the. What is that director?
Still recording.
Wes Anderson?
Yeah, he's
still recording.
He pops up in different shit, like randomly.
If he was in Bottle Rocket shit, he's going to let him be.
He's in Never Been Kissed. I was just talking about that.
See?
All right, Never Been Kissed has been mentioned twice on this podcast. I think it's fair to stop recording now. Good night, everybody, and good luck.